So this doesn't happen very often. I am going to do my own mini vlog without the kids. I'm here in San Diego at a neuroscience conference. It's called the Society for Neuroscience. It's this huge conference, 22,000 neuroscientists, multiple day, each day from morning till night. Everybody's here talking neuroscience.
Why?
One of my favorite things about the conference is this neuro art exhibit. And at the exhibit, they have artists that come in. Some are scientists and some are not. But all of the art is inspired by neuroscience. And they have posters and original paintings. They have socks and ties and scarves. I met one of the artists, and she has a really interesting story that I really think needs to be shared. This is her first time at this neuroscience conference, and she is a mother, and she became interested in neuroscience and the brain when her daughter was diagnosed early on with a rare genetic disorder. But what really impressed me was that it's a little windy here. What really impressed me was that she was so knowledgeable about the disease. She did all her own research, and she was just curious. She wanted to know how the brain works, how her daughter's brain was different than others.
I never imagined myself to be at a neuroscience conference. This is my first time at the SFN, and a lot of people are asking me, why do I paint neurons? Well, I've been an artist my entire life, but my interest in neurons came from my daughter, who was born with a rare genetic disorder. It has affected her cognitive development and her overall global development. I became fascinated with neuroscience out of necessity, researching on her behalf, but then as I was also making art at the same time, I was learning all these things about neuroscience and finding it so amazing and intriguing. Looking at neuroimaging as an artist, I became so inspired by the images that I was seeing that I began to respond through the artwork that I was making. Just the hope that I have found through learning all about neuroplasticity and thinking that things are never like concrete.
Yeah.
There is the potential for change, so that means there's always the reason for hope. And that is what really has fueled my artwork, and not only advocating for her, but advocating for others, especially those that don't have an understanding of neuroscience. And how do we bridge the gap between the community that is well-knowing, that is behind the scenes doing the research, but those on the other side who are the ones that would need the hope of this information to continue to live their lives that have presented them with some challenges in that area.
Could not have said it better myself, and I love that, and you express it so well. And I'll just give a little tour of some of your pieces. This is what I already bought a clipboard, and I'm going to buy 2 more for teachers. I think it's a great gift. And where can people find you?
I have a website, online gallery. It's just Geinene.com. My name is spelled Geine.
Yeah.
Pretty unique. But I also have an Etsy shop and an Instagram, which is also at Geinene.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My sister is a neuroscientist,
Okay.
so she was the original inspiration. About 10 years ago, I designed this beautiful silver cuff for her. My interpretation of a dopamine neuron. He's in the addiction field. That one looks a lot like, obviously, cortex cells, most likely. It's a dendritic agate, and I thought that looked like a pyramidal neuron.
Yeah.
So I did the design to kind of enhance the dendrite coming, like breaking through the frame.
Oh, wow.
Just continuing the flow of the line. And after that, scientists everywhere kind of saw it, and it took off from there.
Yeah,
like, what about earrings? What about a ring? You know, pendants. And so we've been doing this about 10 years since Art of Neuroscience began.
Wow. And do you have a website where people can buy it?
I do. It's on the back of one of my cards, easy to find here. The QR code you can scan. It takes you to my Etsy shop. And everything's made one at a time, so not commercial or mass produced. And you can either find it in the Etsy shop or just contact me and I can have it created and shipped to you.
Wow, it's all beautiful. Here I am outside the convention center now. It's really huge. I think I was doing like 20,000 steps in one day, because you go from one side to the other. There's posters everywhere. There are all these different exhibits from different companies that are working on neuroscience. I ended up also picking up this little pin, this little brain pin, which I thought was really nice. It's from a company called 2 Photon. I also got a neuroscience a little necklace for my daughter that had a serotonin symbol.
I
think it's a nice way to start talking about neuroscience. If we start showing it more visually, it looks interesting, and then we can start talking a little bit more about what the function is and why we're interested in learning more about the brain. I was here presenting my research on neuroplasticity. We look at how the brain changes on a molecular and cellular level really early in development, and I look at the NMDA receptor, so it gets like a little bit more and more specific. The NMDA receptor is thought to be really important for learning and memory. We know a lot about it, but there's like so much we don't know. We know it's implicated in certain diseases, neurodegenerative and developmental, but we're still learning about how it's made up. It has all these different subunits, and it's expressed in different areas, and it works differently early in development and later in development. There are so many runners here. It's amazing. Everybody's just out. We've got this path along the water. I'm excited to go home, but I'm also excited to have learned all these things. I'm inspired, and that's it. See you soon, kiddos.
How do you do, fellow kids?